Hello everybody, welcome to the Sound Test Room. Today we are taking a look at MidiStep, brand new app from 4Pockets. So Paul from 4Pockets. Brilliant this is, right. So it's an aleatoric step sequencer. What is an aleatoric step sequencer, I hear you ask? Well, if you go in here, if you tap on this little icon here at the top, and go to the manual, the help manual. The excellent help manual has been written by David Collette. Okay, so you can scroll down and you can find out what aleatoric music is. It explains it all here for you. So I suggest you read the manual because it's very, very well written. It covers absolutely everything. You can also access Paul's YouTube videos here. And you can learn all about the app with the most excellent manual. Right, okay, let's close the help. Now, I have this hooked up to a SynthMaster 2, and all it's going to, it's a MIDI effect, right? So you MIDI output, and you'll see it's hooked up to this one to SynthMaster 2. I have a bunch of others, but they're all turned down at the moment. So before you start and before you do anything at all, I would suggest you go to where it says scale, click on this and choose a scale. I'm going to choose Dorian because all my other MIDI steps are set to Dorian. You don't need to use more than one. You can just use the one. Okay. Moving across the top here, we have the little file icon. So you know what this does, right? If we long hold this initially, this will turn all notes off. So that's like a MIDI panic. Clicking on it will open up the menu. You can, load a preset, save a preset, etc., etc. Clicking on this will allow you to load a preset. If you long hold, you can save a preset. And if you swipe down, like this, you can get to the preset manager. Now, if anytime you see one of these little arrows pointing up, it means you've got long hold options and you can set the patterns and stuff like this, or the octaves and what have you. Right. And you've got your scale, which we've just checked. Initially, we're going to sync this to the host, but you can actually turn this to note on and play it with a MIDI keyboard. I'll show you that as well. Then we have transpose. If we click on this, transpose mono, transpose poly. This is all for when you're using your keyboard mode as well. Then you have the speed, which at the moment is 1/4. Okay. Then you have incoming MIDI note hold on and off. This is where you can pause a playing sequence so it doesn't advance when you've created patterns. And this is a randomize everything button. And if you long hold on this, you'll get tons of very cool randomization options, right? So we might not get into that today, but they're there if you want them. So just hit done. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to press play and I've got my Dorian scale selected. And you'll see it's just going to fire off that one C note across these 16 steps. Okay, if I can go to note, I can change the speed. Okay, let's just put it back to 1/4 for now and see what happens. Now you will see because of the scale we have selected, I'll just stop this a sec. Because of the scale we have selected, you can see the notes that it's playing here in that scale. Okay, so that's very handy. So if you change a scale, say for instance to the Lagrange scale, you'll see the notes will change. But like I said, we're going to stick with Dorian. While we're here as well, there are absolutely loads and loads and loads of scales that you can use. Everything you'd need really. Okay, so there's that more. But we're going to go with Dorian. And right, this little button here, this is reset your sequence. So if I play, I'll tap this now, watch. It'll restart all sequences. Okay, every time you tap it, it'll just reset all 3 sequences. Now you can see 3 sequences on screen at any one time. So you've got your note sequencer, your octave sequencer, and your velocity sequencer. You also have a modulation sequencer, which allows you to send up to 8 modulation destinations to another synth. I will show you that as well. As long as you know your MIDI CCs and stuff, you're golden. Okay, so let's go back to sequence here. And you have different things like gate, divider, repeat. Divider and repeat are different, and delay. They're both very, very cool, of course. So let's play this. You have a randomize, but I could do this, right? So just chuck a few notes in. Okay. I can reset this here, just do that. I can randomize. I'll just reset that there as well. Now, this randomize, this is your global randomize, and you've got deeper control. However, if you just want to randomize either the notes or the octaves or the kind of sequencer lane, if you like, with the gate, divider, repeat, you have another randomize option here. If I long hold on this, you get more options. So at the moment, it's going to choose random notes between C to A sharp. If I change the default, say, to D and hit random, it's going to randomize between, it's not going to touch this C, it's going to randomize between D and A sharp. I'll just reset that as well. And if I set my key here to D, you'll see that changes to D. So it's the same thing, same scale, Dorian, but now it's the root note is D. So you can change your root note here to anything you like. And the let me just quickly show you the octaves. So octave down. Okay, you can set this. And of course, this can be different for each pattern you have as well. All right. Okay, different things we can do. So we've looked at our range, right, we can let's set back to C. So C to A sharp. Probability, well, the randomization at the moment is 50%. So if I set this to 100% and the range is C to A sharp, it's going to be bonkers. It's going to randomize all over the place, right? Let me reset that. But if I set, say, the probability down to something like 20%, it's not going to be so kind of crazy, you know? And you'll see here that most of the time it's retaining the root note. And this would be the same as if I was to change this root note to, say, a D sharp. Now, mostly it's going to randomize around that D sharp root note. Okay, so I'm going to reset this here, stick this back to C. Other options we have here, you can tie notes depending on the type of sound, right? It will tie that note together, but this is a kind of a plucky sound, so you wouldn't hear it so much on this. But however, so on, right? If you tap a note here, this control panel, it will scroll through the different options that you have, on or off. Long hold, you've got tie and random. Random, a little dice will appear. So if I maybe choose a few different steps here, and I'll say, I'll random this, and I'll random this one, and maybe this one. It's going to choose a random note defined by the probability. So we'll increase the probability now to say 63, well, that much percent, 60%. So as I press play now, these notes here with the little dice will play random notes in the scale, okay? Okay, super duper. You have a master length, which is a master length for all of the lanes. So for example, if I do that, you'll see they're all now just 5. If I go back to 16 it is. But you also have a note length for each of these as well. So like the amount of steps in here. So at the moment it's 16, but if I take this down to say, let's take it down to say 7, watch what happens now. It gets to 7 here and goes back. Keep an eye on this as well. This little button here is a reset, and what will happen is every time that this top line gets to its maximum note length, it will reset this sequence. So at the moment, this is just going to play through and through and through. It's not going to stop no matter where this is. Okay, let's put this on. And what will happen when this gets to the end, wherever this is, it will reset. Let's decrease the master. And see, it'll get to 10, and wherever it is here, it'll just reset it again. Awesome stuff. Right, let's reset the master length. And randomize. Let's put these back onto on. Okay. Let's just throw in a few extra notes. Let's look at the octave lane now. So if I reset this, actually, this should be interesting. Watch. I'm going to throw a few octaves in here. Epic stuff. You can also, if I'm doing this, if I double tap on any of them, it will reset the position of this one. Okay, so maybe I'd like this F here on all of them, and it's still playing the octaves, right? Okay, awesome stuff. Let's have a quick look at this lane. So this first one is velocity. Now, depending, of course, there you go, this patch is responding to velocity. And you can randomize this so it's only very slight. The initial randomization settings will be, of course, at a lesser range. So you're getting slight variations in velocity. Next one is gate. Well, that will gate the note, depending, of course, on the synth. So I'm going to long hold that and, oops. Then we have the divider. This is like ratcheting. Let's get onto a different synth. I can close this one so you're not getting bored with the same sound. I'll just move this one over and I'll bring up the Zeeon here, which I think is this one here. Okay, so if we go to divider now, going to get rid of some of that reverb. On Zeeon, hang on a sec. I'm just going to let Watson in. Okay, so you know how that works. Repeat. This is super cool. I'll set the divider back down to, right. Now remember our scale is still Dorian because that's how I set it. But if I go to repeat now, I'm going to set this to say repeat 3 times or 4 times. Now you're not going to hear anything, right? It's just going to, listen, it's just going to sound exactly the same. Per step you're on, right? So whatever step you're working on, you just want to select the step, okay? So select where you're working on. For example, I want to work on step number 6 here on this repeat function. And you'll see this where it says step repeat. Transpose, I'm going to now transpose this up. I'm going to turn these down. Hear that? You hear it's transposing it up? Let's do it with this one as well. Let's go to step 12. You see it's different for every single step. Let's transpose this one down. And it's going to follow your scale. Then we have increments. So maybe we'll go to step 6 and change the increments to 4. Let's change the increments for this one to, let's select it first, select number 12, change the increments to 5. Very deep, but let's maybe move this up to an F. Very cool. Okay. Again, we can randomize all this stuff depending on how you have this set. And then you have a delay which offsets the notes. Takes them slightly off grid, nudges them off grid, so you could get some swing stuff going on. Okie dokie. Awesome stuff. Let's reset this stuff. Okay. Right, modulation. Let's see, I happen to know that there's some modulation going on here, so sure of my CC numbers are for Zeeon. Where's me? Go back to me layer. Might be around the 70s sometimes usually. I can let me demo this with one that I absolutely know. Right, so it's Moog Model D. Let me go to number 2 here. Let me change this patch. So this is now tracking along with Moog Model D. If I go to my modulation section now, and I think, is it 71? Let's just go to 71. I think one of them is 71 and one of them is 74. So we're on mod lane 1 and go to 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. 71. And let's see what happens. Now we have to enable it so it'll start working. And let's go to Modelling 2 and set this one to, I think, 74. Enable. So they're all independent. So now and you've got independent control now over the speed. And you can do the same probability settings. So probability, let's decrease the range. Alter the default for that, of course. Randomize the scale. Our scale's chromatic. I'm going to set that to Dorian. So that's it playing Model D. Here I have it playing this one here. You might note that this is on chromatic because FAC Drum Kit is a chromatic. It received MIDI from C upwards, so C1. So this is now playing okay. And you can set your ratchets and stuff up if you want to as well, say with the divider. So that's how you gotta get it playing with drums and stuff. But look, let's just quickly go back to Model D, or maybe the Zeeon one. Okay, and which is 1, 2, 3, number 4. Okay, let's just, I'm just gonna reset this stuff. Maybe randomize the octaves and set this a bit quicker. We can turn steps on and off just by just get back onto the sequencer lane a sec. Okay, here's a cool thing we can do. Step options allow for probability. Okay, so for example, I'm going to select step 5. So step 5 is selected, and I'm going to turn the probability up to something like 86%. See, it skipped then. So there's 86% on that one. On number 9, there's an 8% chance it won't play. Excellent stuff. Note skip. But let's set the probability back to 0 for both of these. If I select, well, we'll stay on note 5. If I select note 5 here, so lane 5, and I use skip step to 2, once every 2 passes, it will skip this step. So next time round, it should skip this step now. There you go. So this is like your kind of, it's kind kind of like the probability, but not you're controlling how this works. So you can do it for 3 all the way up to kind of 7. So every 5th time it'll still play, but every 5th time it won't play, if you know what I mean. So you can still get kind of cool variations. Don't forget this resets the sequence. This 1-1, like /1 here, refers to the patterns and how many times it will cycle. If I put that on 2, it'll say 1/2, but it's only on pattern 1 anyway, so it won't make any difference at the moment. Okay, let's look at the chord editor. Now I think this patch is polyphonic. I'm going to go up an octave. Just check it is polyphonic actually, so bear with me 1 sec. Actually I can do this here. In fact, I can show you the note in. So look, at the moment it's not polyphonic. I know it's not polyphonic because I'm pretty sure that this is hooked up to my KeyStep Pro. Yeah, it is. So if I take that off there and I hook my KeyStep Pro up to this, turn that down, turn this up. That's right. This is, it's polyphonic. I'm going to unhook the KeyStep Pro now. So there's nothing been triggered from there. And on the MidiStep that's controlling this one, which is this one, I am going to go MIDI input. KeyStep Pro is already selected, so that's cool. And MidiStep is going out to SynthMaster 2. Brilliant. So now, at the moment, it says host. So, okay. It's I'm going to reset this stuff for a minute. It's been triggered by the host when I press transport. And in fact, I'm going to lower that octave to 4. So where am I, and what am I triggering now? Is this the right one? Hang on a minute, just let me make sure. So right, yeah, cool. So stop the host, and I am going to enter this here where it says transpose. I'm going to go transpose. Actually, I'm not for now. I'm going to go to host sync and go note on. And now, if I play any note on my MIDI keyboard, it's just going to fire that sequence. No matter what note I hit. So I'm controlling the sequence by MIDI. If I go to transpose now and to go transpose mono, what will happen is it will play the sequence and it will transpose depending on the key I play. So let's get this down another octave. Sorry. And if I change a note up or down, if I put it onto poly, it means I can now play chords. It doesn't matter where this is set at. Let's reset the octaves there. Okay. So that's Poly allows you to play chords with your MIDI keyboard. Your transport doesn't even need to be running. It still sync to the host. You can still say, well, okay, I'd like that faster. So okay, another cool thing here, we have ARP up. So same deal, play a chord on your keyboard. And all this stuff still works. If I throw a few ratchets in here and there. I could even put a few repeats in. So maybe number 8 here, I'll put them in and I'll go right up and down. You're going to get some very interesting results now. Randomize the octave if you want. Randomize the notes. It's all going to sound great. Right. Just let me set them back. I'm going to set all these back to where they were. And I am going to come away from the note transpose. I'm just going to switch it off. So now we're back to being controlled by the host. The last thing I want to show you before I end this first video for MidiStep is chord node. So all this cool stuff, you can also have it play chords, okay, which is just really great. And it's very simple to set this up. So each independent step can be a chord, okay. If we go to chord editor right now, you'll see here, if I go out of chord editor, you'll see this is our octave mode. If we go into chord editor, we're now in chord mode, and you'll see the root note here for each of our selected notes is this C. We're on C, but if I kind of just randomize this a bit, right, and I choose this lane here, you see the notes will change depending on which lane you want. So let's look at this. I'm going to switch that off and that off. If chord isn't on, it's just going to play. Now, don't forget your scale is Dorian, whatever scale you choose. These chords are going to fit in with that scale. And you can see the notes you can use. The grey notes are the notes that you can use in your chord. You can use them and they won't sound wrong. Okay. Press chord. Switch it on. But then you can, you don't need to have chord switched on to set a chord up. You just add notes. But as soon as you start adding notes, it's going to add chord in for you, right? So now I've got 3 notes in here. So this first one will play a chord. Okay. Awesome stuff. Let's set a few more up. Don't forget to go to the lane. Okay. Very, very, very cool. I'm sure you'll agree. Okay, so now what we can also do is we can choose to have chords kind of, it's hard to explain. Let me show you. I'm going to switch it on for number 5. Let's switch chord number 5 on, but let's long hold and choose random. Okay, so I'm going to choose lane number 5 here. Okay, so we can see. And you'll see it's there, it's a G. I am going to, let's see, it's on random, complexity 3. Let's see what happens if I don't add any notes in. Okay. changes. And that depends on the complexity. Now, of course, you do want to have apply complexity, apply scale on. If you have it switched off, it means you can randomly just choose the notes you want to use. But that's random. And it works also kind of for the chance. Okay, so for example, on this fifth one, we're on column 5. The chance is 100%. If I turn this all the way down to nothing, this ain't gonna play. Okay, it's just going to play the note. Let's turn the chance up a bit. Still didn't play. Maybe a bit more of a chance. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there, right? So you get the idea. It's very, very, very cool. In the next video I do, I will go through the sequence and all. But basically, all you need to know is extremely simple. Watch. If I, let me see if I can remember how to do this. Yeah, copy. So this is sequence 1, all right? If I press copy and then just move over to sequence 2, that sequence 2 is now this. Let's just turn that down a minute. Right, so if I randomize everything, I'm going to show you one more thing in a sec, which I forgot to show you. If I randomize everything, if I go back to sequence 1 now, okay, so you can build up complete sets of sequences, up to 16 different sequences. And I'll get into all the ways this works, but you can have it advanced, you can have it random, you can choose a pattern it goes through next, etc., etc. Very cool. You can choose how many times each of these will play before it jumps to the next sequence. Okay, like I said, one more thing to show you. Just let me reset this and maybe make a couple of adjustments. Yeah. Let me turn. Yeah, I'm done. Great. Right, so this button here is jump. Okay, so this will randomly select a step in the sequence. Okay. Guys, if you've watched this video premiere, thank you very, very, very much for watching. It's much appreciated and awesome of you. I'm gonna play around with this a little bit. I don't know how it'll sound like because I've messed around with stuff, but you'll get the idea. I've got some. I think I made sure everything was set to Dorian. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Please consider becoming a Patreon. It really, really helps, you know. Anyway, brilliant. I'll see you guys later. Let's play around with this sequence for 5 minutes. Ta-ta.